We are Makilala TV, the first Filipino-American TV talk show in the New York metro area. Get to know us as we talk to the community leaders, innovators, advocates, and emerging artists who affect Filipino-American life.
Welcome to Makilala TV.
I'm Angelo.
I'm Josh.
I'm Bobby Pestka.
I'm Jen, and this is Cristina Pastor, live at the New Amsterdam Theater.
Yay!
we have the ensemble for the Broadway show Aladdin.
How did you get into Aladdin? Very quick and very short. Let's start with you, Angelo.
I auditioned August of 2013, and I got the job in December after a dance call, a callback, and then a final callback in front of all the directors.
Wow. So you didn't have to wait a whole year.
I waited about 5-6 months, actually. That's
Were
a
you
long
like
time.
always waiting on the phone call?
Yes, that's a long time to wait, actually, for a job.
Oh, that's a long time to wait.
Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
What about you, Josh?
My audition process was I came in for Omar for one of the friends as an understudy, and then a month later I heard nothing.
Oh.
And then my agent called me back while I was in tech and said they want to see you again. I was like, I don't know if I can get out of my tech schedule. They said they want to see you as an Aladdin cover, and I was like, I'll find a way. So then on Monday I auditioned. They gave me this entire packet of sides and songs, and I had to learn all of that. I came in on Monday. They asked me to come back on Tuesday. I came back on Tuesday. They asked me to come back in the afternoon to dance, and I learned the dance combination by myself because they had already done the dance call. And then the next day they asked me to come back for the entire team, including the producers. And then that was the
You knew
last
at the time that they were getting you.
I
Not
knew
yet.
at the time that I was doing well.
Oh, okay.
That's about it.
You believed, you manifested, and it happened.
That's right.
What about you, Bob?
My very first was in 2011. That was the very first time I auditioned for Aladdin, and it was for the Seattle company. This the out-of-town pilot production. That the very first time they were putting it on stage, and the 2011, and then we didn't. After we wrapped that up, we weren't sure what the life of the show would be, and then 13 came around, and it's moving forward to Broadway.
So your roles are you're playing the villains. Are you playing the villains?
Sometimes.
I think it says swing. You want to tell our audience what swing means.
So I'm a swing. There's 4 swings, male swings, and swing's job is to cover the ensemble tracks. We have 12 men's ensemble tracks in the show, and I'm in charge of covering all of them at any given moment. Plus, I understudy Omar and Iago, which makes for 14 total roles that I have to be able to go on for at any given moment.
And
Yes.
he has.
How do you remember all the lines?
Very carefully.
Not just the lines, even the dance moves.
Even the
Yeah,
dancing,
the dance
sometimes the
move.
dancing is opposite choreography. All the numbers on stage are very different. You can see some numbers in the front of the stage that help me make sure that I'm in the right spot on stage, and then I watch the show when I'm not performing. I make sure that it's in my body and it's in my head, and I have some reference videos on my phone to study at any given moment. So it's a lot of work, but it's really fun to be able to see the show from different perspectives every night. So 8 shows a week, potentially 8 roles a week that I could be playing. So it's pretty fun.
So what time of the day do they actually tell you that you're playing that particular role?
So I'll learn officially 2 hours before the show. Sometimes I'll know 2 weeks in advance if I know someone has a vacation. But if someone gets injured in the middle of a show, I could jump in during the middle of a show, which I have about 3 or 4 times. And
Really?
things happen in live theater, so I actually have to be able to go on at any given moment.
We learned somehow, somewhere that a swing is different from an understudy. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. Care to explain, any of you?
Angelo would actually be the best person to explain. I suppose an understudy is somebody that understudies the principal, actor, so Aladdin. So I'm an understudy for Aladdin and for Iago. But I'm in the ensemble every night. Now, a swing is somebody that understudies the ensemble. So there are 12 of us on stage, 12 men that Angelo knows. And on top of being a swing, he also knows 2 principal tracks.
So I'm a swing and an understudy at the same time. I swing in for the men's ensemble, and I understudy 2 principal roles, which makes for 14 roles total.
So you can actually do the entire show by yourself, except Courtney.
Possibly, yes. And maybe Courtney's too.
And I could be, yeah, okay.
Give him 30 minutes, he'll learn Courtney. She's a
Have you
genius.
done Aladdin?
Yes,
Have you
yes.
actually performed? What was that?
Oh, it was amazing. It was, I had knee surgery like maybe a month and a half before I was on. So I actually missed opening night. I was part of the original company. And I came in 2 days after as in my ensemble track. And then the following Friday I only had a vocal rehearsal. I went on as Aladdin for the entire weekend, which was amazing. It was amazing. Yeah, it was a blast.
Bob, you are also you're also swing, right?
No, I'm in the ensemble. I just focus on one track.
Oh, okay.
I'm fine with that. One track every night. I'm okay with that.
But you guys, this is not your full-time job, is it? You have day jobs, right?
No, this is it.
This is it. Yeah, Disney worked them to death.
I have the impression that you cannot leave your theater.
Well,
Is that wrong? Is that a wrong impression?
oh, we absolutely can. We
You can survive
the great part about it is in the beginning of the day we have time to do any extra work that we want to get done, which is great, but it's a very sustainable profession. Right?
I mean, you can do it and you can raise a family. We have many people in our cast and just in theater that are raising families very well.
Right.
It's just it's one of those things where it's difficult to get into that position.
I mean, you're in a very successful Broadway play, and I'm assuming it comes with a lot of perks, and you so happen to do a job that you enjoy, and you're happy going in every day, to work. Was there ever a moment that you go like, okay, what am I doing here?
I would only say that like if I'm very injured and I'm at work, it's more difficult to get through the show. But I still come in because I love doing my job.
But isn't this a job for young people?
As Josh was saying, it kind of doesn't get any better than this. I mean, this is what we strive for. We take classes, we go to school for this, and to be in a production of this size and with such wonderful people, I mean, we kind of nailed the jackpot on this. So,
I know.
yeah, we're very lucky.
Are you very close friends?
Yes.
Yeah, we are.
That's what's with as you guys have noticed, working in other Asian shows. I mean, there's such a sense of community, and it is a sense of family.
You're really enjoying it.
We are here at the Amsterdam Theater with Courtney Reed, Jasmine of Aladdin on Broadway. Oh my God!
We are on Broadway, Makilala TV.
Yes. So Courtney, how did you start being in a musical theater?
Oh my gosh, you mean when I was a kid, I did a ton of just theater like growing up, because my sister did it. So I was like, let me get into this. I love it. And then I found the audience and became in love. I fell in love.
You were a kid, how old was you?
I was about 6, actually. My first show, I was 6 years old. And ever since then, I just have been doing theater, literally ever since I was 6.
Different kinds of roles.
Yeah, all different kinds. I was a mouse in Cinderella. That was my first job.
That's nice.
It was great.
How does it feel like playing an Arab princess?
Oh, well, it's an honor. It's an honor. I have in my career been very fortunate to play a bunch of ethnic, like different ethnicities. So, yeah, oh my gosh, a ton. And so now that I get to play, Princess Jasmine, one of the most iconic Disney princesses of all time, I'm just so honored.
When you auditioned for the role of Jasmine, and then you finally got that call that you're going to play Jasmine, so how was that like? Can you tell our audience?
Well, it's hard to explain because I had been waiting for this for years, and I had anticipated, you know, we never knew if it was going to go to Broadway. We never knew if we were, if we were going to be cast. So when they called me, I didn't know that they were calling me for that reason. I thought they were calling me for something else. So I was completely caught off guard. And Disney called me. Usually your agents call you, but Disney called me themselves, and I started screaming. I was on the streets of New York City, and I started screaming. I think people thought I was like getting murdered or something, but I was just so excited.
When you got the role, who was the first person that you talked to about it? You broke the news to?
Oh gosh, I think my parents, my siblings, my agents, because they were like, I don't even know. I guess they called you first. So yeah, it was great.
Is there something about Aladdin, the musical, that the world doesn't know anything about?
Oh my gosh, most people know the movie, but Aladdin the musical, there's some new songs that people have never heard before. There's, you know, of course, we have a lot of the original company still on the show, so that's incredible. People can still come and see like the show in its original format. You know, it's really, really exciting. I don't know if anyone's ever really seen like a carpet fly on the stage like the way they do with our show.
That's why we're here, right?
Oh, you guys gotta see it. You gotta see it. Yeah, the carpet is somewhere
how is
in
that
here.
being on a magical carpet, right?
It's so it really is. I mean, for lack of a better word, it's very magical.
Is it scary?
No, it's not scary. Everyone asks me that, but I was never scared. I was never scared.
Great, yeah.
Okay, there's this one question that we want to ask you. Like, you probably have the famous belly button out there. So, what do you do to stay fit and like every day before the show and things like that?
Well, I eat healthily. I eat healthy meals. I eat clean. And I do a lot of cardio. I'm kind of into Soul Cycle. Have you guys heard of Soul Cycle? It's like cycling. I just love it. So I do a lot of cardio, and I just like, I try to like stay in shape and eat really well. Yeah. That's about it. I can't indulge in all the things that normal people can. You know what I mean?
Well, how do you react to observations that say that, you know, a place like Aladdin, The King and I, Miss Saigon promote cultural stereotypes?
How do I feel about it?
Yeah.
How they promote cultural stereotypes?
Yeah.
Well, I think when I use Aladdin as an example, I really think that it does quite the opposite, because if you see the company, we have people of all ethnic backgrounds, all colors of the world, and we have just such a diverse company that it actually breaks the mold when it comes to cultural stereotypes. So that's one of the best things about Aladdin, actually, and you can see it's very apparent when you like look up on the stage and you see all the colors.
So, Adam Jacob.
It's okay.
We have Makilala TV.
Hi.
He plays Aladdin.
Okay.
Aladdin, it's himself. So we're here. So are we going to trust him? Oh, kind of cheesy.
So I will repeat the question.
Sure.
So Adam, I have not read a lot of press about the Filipino part of you.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your mom? Your mom is the Filipino part of you, right?
Correct. So
Okay.
my mom is from the Pangasinan area near Binalonan,
Okay.
and then she lived in Baguio for some time, and then came over to the United States in 1965 with the Immigration Non-Quota Act, one of the first families to come over, because my grandfather. My grandfather worked for the U.S. Army in Okinawa. He was a Filipino scout. He was a scout in Japan for some time. So he was granted permission to come to the United States with my family. So,
And then she met your dad here in the States.
she met my dad here. Yeah, that's correct.
And your mom, what kind of work did she do?
She was in the medical field. She was a nurse for our registered nurse, and then she became a case manager at the hospital. And now she's working with the insurance companies, the people that she used to call and yell at the hospital. Now she's working on the other side.
And your dad, what was your dad's?
My dad is business director of sales and marketing.
okay.
Yeah, that's what he does.
So what do you say is the biggest influence in you getting into this in theater?
Well, my parents for sure saw early on that I had a musical inclination, so they put me in piano, and I went to the San Francisco Conservatory.
Classic Filipino mom.
Yep. I went to play piano for a good 8 years at the San Francisco Conservatory of Music, and almost went the concert pianist route, but then switched over to the theater after, actually my sister, who's 4 years younger, started singing first, and then I followed her and started singing and performing, and in high school is where I really, started doing theater.
How many siblings do you have?
I just have the one.
Just the two of you?
Just the two of us,
Okay.
right.
And you're both in the performing
We're
stage.
both, yeah.
Oh,
She's
great.
playing Jasmine. She just finished playing Jasmine in the Australian production of Aladdin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and she's coming back.
You guys
for
are
home
killing
finales.
it.
We're doing okay. We're doing okay.
Yeah.
And you married an actress too. Right?
That's
You're
correct.
married to an actress.
She on this very stage, she played in Mary Poppins. She was one of the swings and dance captains, and then Aladdin came in right after that. So.
And you're twins. Do you see some
Yeah.
musical genes somewhere
I
there?
do. They're liking to
Really?
sing a lot. Yeah,
They sing a lot?
They love singing, and they love.
How old are they?
They're going to be 3 in January, and Jack and Alex love to sing and make up. They like to change lyrics to the
Oh.
songs already. They're just making up stuff.
Have
So-
they seen you on stage, or that's too young?
They have not seen me here. They have not seen me perform yet
Okay.
on stage. They've been backstage. They've seen They've met the whole lovely cast here
okay, yeah.
and everybody who works here. And they've been on the stage. I actually took them on stage, but they've not seen me perform. I'm thinking in the next couple months I'll bring them.
You said your grandfather was a Philippine scout.
Yeah,
Is he still around?
he is. Yeah, he lives in Salinas.
You heard about this bill that became
Yes,
that
yeah.
became a law?
They now allow people who are awaiting visas
Yeah, to bring their
to bring their families
Yeah.
here to wait until
Will
they're
that,
approved, which is great.
Impact your family in any way?
No, we don't have any more
don't-
relatives
oh,
coming
okay.
over, but that's really great what Obama did.
That's right.
To sign that legislation.
That's right, yeah. So, another question.
Yeah.
As an actor of color,
Mm-hmm.
are there difficulties getting roles?
There are difficulties and advantages to me personally. Being mixed has helped me play a variety of different roles.
I know.
You know, I've played Spanish, I've played Native American, I've played everything.
Now you're Arab.
And now, yes, right, correct.
Okay.
Yes, Middle Eastern, Arab.
Middle Eastern,
yeah,
yeah,
sure. At the same time, you know, when I go in for example, TV auditions, you know, I'm not necessarily Asian enough to play some. You know, they have specific categories.
true,
You know, you're not Latino. He's not really Latino. He's not Asian. So it's hard. I sort of slip. I slip through the.
Latino-looking,
Yeah, I get Latino mostly. People
Yeah,
think I'm
mostly,
Latino.
Right, because I have 2 kids who did
Yeah.
commercials, and they usually are casted as
Latino.
Latinos and never get through Asian
Yeah.
for some reason.
It's
so.
just funny that way.
That's right.
I mean, I guess with Filipinos we have that Spanish heritage, which comes into play, I suppose.
Do you, is that a frustration of yours?
A little
that-
bit,
oh,
sure.
okay.
You know, I mean, I wish that the TV world was as
Yeah.
open and inclusive and as much as as much as they are here in the theater world. But I think that'll change eventually.
What is your best experience so far, aside from the magic carpet ride, which I'm kind of jealous?
Yeah.
What is your best experience so far being in Aladdin?
I mean, just the whole journey. I think about my kids. They were born the first day of rehearsal with this show here in New York. So their lives have run parallel to my experience here in New York.
So you are now Aladdin for 3 years?
Yeah. I've been Aladdin. We're in our 3rd year. That's
Yeah.
right. And you know, I picture the whole thing and think about where I started and where I ended up and how much I've changed and grown and how much all my fellow castmates have changed and grown, and it's really
You were
amazing.
born first day of rehearsal, so you had to go to the hospital? and
That's
leave
right.
rehearsal?
I was not at rehearsal. I did not show
I
up.
was going to say.
I didn't show up.
That's good.
It was
They gave you a pass.
They were born around 2 a.m. So
okay, yeah.
that day I did not go to rehearsal. The director said Adam's not here. He's at the hospital. So and everybody cheered and clapped and was very happy.
Yeah. So Iago, he believes he's the main villain of the show, but of course he's a tiny little villain, and his best friend Jafar wants to take over the kingdom. Yeah.
So, how long?
I had no idea what I was doing in that.
So I've been a professional actor since 2006. So this is my 10-year anniversary. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
How long have you been?
I've been with Aladdin. Okay, so it's actually I've been with Aladdin since 2011 when we did it in Seattle. I was the original Iago, and then when they came to Broadway, they called me and said, "Hey, we want you to come along." And so I've been with the show ever since.
It has always been.
I've always been Iago. Although I will say, when I did my audition process, I actually was Babcock, which was one of Aladdin's friends. So they called me in for Babcock, and I did all my auditions as Babcock. feedback, and then finally I met the director, Casey Nicola, and he looked at me and he said, can you look at the Iago sides? And I said, sure. So I read the Iago sides. 2 weeks later, I got the part. And then when they decided to come to Broadway, they called me, and I'm so lucky.
How was that when they told you come to Broadway? What did you do?
Well, I remember my hands went numb. I was on the phone, and I called my mom right away, of course, and I called my wife. We live in New York now. Well, we live in Jersey now, but we're originally from Seattle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I got the call when I was still in Seattle, and then like 10 months later, I moved to New York, and I'd never lived anywhere else besides Seattle. So it was a huge culture shock, but I'm so happy to be here. Yeah.
How neat gets to work in Broadway.
Right? It's the dream.
Has it always worked?
Oh yeah, I mean, okay. So, I sang at the birthday parties, I sang in Tagalog. My dad actually started a Filipino dance group in Seattle. And so I learned how to do the tiniswing and yeah, I can do all of it. And they really encouraged me to kind of fully immerse myself in the Filipino culture, but at the same time they encouraged me to be an American kid. So I played basketball with my friends, I played soccer with my friends, but then in my spare time I would learn songs in Tagalog, and I would play the piano and learn, oh gosh, what is it? Butterfly, little butterfly. Yes, that's it. Yeah, so I'm so lucky that my parents kind of gave me the best of both worlds.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite part. And it's not the shopping. I mean, I love.
So far in my career, yes, and I think for a long time it will be, because Aladdin is such a special show, and they've brought so many wonderful people together, so many wonderful artists on stage, backstage, front of house, and I think you can really feel the electricity and the magic when you walk into the theater.
The thing with Iago, I think it has to be on timing. Because comedy is more difficult than drama or...
I agree, 100%.
Can you tell I'm an Iago fan? But do you practice in front of the mirror, or do you practice in front of your friends? What do you do? Because you can say the wrong thing the wrong time, and the audience is going to start like, what was that?
What was that? Yeah. Well, okay, so I'll tell you the story, actually. My mom would always come to my shows, no matter what show, where it was. And she was always surprised. She was like, how did you do that? And I said, well, what do you mean? She goes, you never practice at home. And I go, no, I don't practice at home. So, I do actually all of my work in the rehearsal room. And I listen for those responses, and I feel like I have a very specific comic timing, and that's something that I learned actually from doing Commedia. So all the way back to classic Italian comedy. I went all the way back to the roots of classic Italian comedy, and I found different timings, and that's what I use in the show. And so, what I'm doing are classical techniques, but kind of disguised in a big Broadway musical.
What's classic Italian comedy?
Okay, so Commedia dell'arte was actually actors who would travel from town to town, and they would wear leather masks, right? So something I learned when I did Commedia is I wore a leather mask. I didn't have half my face, so how do I emote my body? And so I learned my fingers can be surprised, or my feet can be surprised, and so those techniques I bring to my work now. Absolutely.
This production.
There's tons of Filipinos here.
I'm sure there are other Filipinos that are not here on this stage right now.
Sure.
Others in the background, others in the swing, playing swing in the ensemble. One of the wardrobe assistants, the original wardrobe assistant, was Filipino too, Dc Cruz.
Yeah, and then I'm not sure about front of house or down in the pit. I don't know too many other orchestra members, but I think all the Filipinos are here right now. Yeah.
How does it feel like working in California?
It's incredible. I mean, because we've all kind of shared the same experience growing up in America. I was born here. I was born in Seattle, and so we get to share recipes. We get to share stories, and there's tons of stories. Oh my gosh, yes. And we cook for each other sometimes. How cool is that? We live in Bloomfield. Yeah.
A lot of Filipinos.
Yes.
A lot of Filipinos.
Oh yeah.
That's close to
All these high school
Yes, it is.
musicals
Yeah,
and all these
yeah. I've already been to Red Ribbon and Jollibee, of course. And there's going to be a Jollibee. They're building one here. Did you know that?
Well, now we do.
I'm not going to fit in my costume anymore. Is that it attaches with magnets to my wig. So I can put it on really quick and I can take it off really quick. Again, that was custom made for me. And my shoes are the pointiest shoes in the show. Those are my shoes. The only thing I can't do is walk upstairs. Everything else I can do. I can get on the floor. I can get off of the floor. These were custom made for me also. I believe these were made in Toronto, actually. Yeah.
Did you have a trip wearing those?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's like, when I'm trying to do the electric slide and I do that. But yeah, I can walk normally. And actually, these are the most comfortable shoes I've ever worn in a show ever, because they took very specific measurements of my feet, and they fit my feet perfectly. Yeah. Before Disney came in and made it all beautiful, there was like 8 feet of water or something like that in the basement. Disney came in and renovated the theater into this gorgeous, they restored it to basically what it used to look like in its original glory. So welcome to the backstage at the New Amsterdam Theater. I'm going to show you around. Actually, we're here on stage right. This is, if you kind of look above you, you can see there are some set pieces. If you look on the ground, you can see some tracks. There are over 100 automated moves in the show, so there's a lot of technology that makes the set move in and out, up and down. Yeah, and we have a wonderful crew of people back here too that make the magic happen every night as well. And one of the special effects that I'm about to show you, we use actually in Arabian Nights. Are you ready? You guys got your video on? Here we go.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that we do in the show. And there's also live pyro. But yeah, that's one of the fun things that we get to do. Thank you very much. And if you guys want to come this way, we're going to actually head into Prop Alley.
Wow.
And so everything fits here backstage at the New Amsterdam Theater. They'll either fit here, there's footprints on the ground. You can actually see this is where the Cave of Wonder Towers fit. So everything's kind of marked out, everything has its own place, and everything was custom made for our show. So everything that you're seeing is original to our Aladdin show. And you can look above and you can see here are some costume pieces that they use in the transformation when when Aladdin turns into Prince Ali. Here's some more costume pieces over here. And actually, if you look, so this is marked for the actress, and actually all of the headpieces and costume pieces for the show are custom to each actor and actress. And so if another actor was to try to put that on, it wouldn't fit them because this actually form fits right into her head. And we have teams of milliners and beaters who come in every day and maintain our costumes. Speaking of costumes, can I take them down to the bunker? Yeah. Is that okay? Woohoo! All right, you guys, if you want to follow me, we're actually going to head down the props in the show. It's Jafar's staff. He actually uses 2 in the show. This is the one that he uses most of the time. Pretty cool, yeah? And just follow me, watch your step. There's our little ensemble, and some of the principal actors get dressed during the show. This is just a small part of the bunker. So above us, actually, is the deck. So about 15 feet above our heads is where the stage is. If you